yeah, we had our bumps and all this other stuff on expanding Medicaid, but you know what, we got it done. And it wasn't just that, it wasn't just expanding Medicaid, we've been working on this stuff forever. Whether it was more money for the mentally ill, whether it was more money for drug addicted, we started this thing 3.5 years ago. It's just that, Margie, the Medicaid expansion became the seminal moment where people went, oh, aha. But this is nothing new. So, I always struggle with talking about my motivation, because people tend to look at it and be very critical of it. I guess that's okay. I believe it's pretty clear, at least to me. You don't have to agree with this. It's okay if you don't. I believe the Creator wants everybody to be lifted. I believe the Creator says is that there is a rule here about the poor, the disabled, the infirmed. Ignore them, it's at your peril. I'm not doing that. So, we got Lisa here, the Joan of Arc of food banks. I mean, there's not a day that goes by where Lisa's not complaining about something we're doing, and I say to Ben, what is wrong with that lady? You're giving her more money, more food, more stuff. That's her job. And we love it, Lisa, for your passion, and somebody has to be that way. Matt here, he's been in this business for a long time. You obviously don't believe in term limits. Anyway, Phil, I'm thrilled with what you had to say about the community action agencies. And Doug, I'm glad that the foundation plays a vital role. Hopefully we can get it to even do more. And so when we look at these programs, Sprague here. Sprague is here from, he's got this big thing now about, he's very, very focused on what do we do for beds for people who are drug addicted. And of course, we're very, in emergency situations, we are very focused on what do we do for the mentally ill for beds in a critical situation. We saw it down in Virginia when Craig Deeds, I think that's how you say, I mean, God bless him, man, you know, couldn't get his son into a facility at night, and the next day he attacked his dad. That's mental illness in its extreme form. Not everybody that has it's going to act like that. Let's make no mistake about it. But you have to have a place for those who are acutely mentally ill to go, and those who are acutely addicted to go, so they're safe for themselves and they're safe for people around them. Start talking a big deal, food banks. You know, we keep giving it money because it's, you know, can you think of anything? You think of anything tougher than a little kid who's hungry? I mean, come on. For those in the legislature that sometimes say, you know, well, what's the role of government? Well, Doug's here, he's from the private sector. The churches and the synagogues do their role. But in the 21st century, they can't do it all. We have a responsibility. Ignore that responsibility and it's at your own peril. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do the best we can to keep building things up. Now, when I walked in here, I saw these two nice ladies at the food bank. Say, when somebody comes in here to get food, how do you talk to them? Increasingly, I should say increasingly, but Cynthia Dungy, who's with us, she runs Jobs and Family Services. I said, Cynthia, if I go to the county welfare department and I want to get food stamps, and I get at the window, what happens? She said, well, by and large, they'll give you your food stamps and they'll check a box. I said, how much of the time will they ever say to the lady who's standing at the window, what's your problem? She said, virtually never. So in the welfare system, too much of the time, we treat people as widgets. We are interested in execution. I got that done, and there was limited fraud, and you know, all that. And we're all for limited fraud. I mean, we're all for that. But it's not enough just to give out the food stamps. The real key is, okay, ma'am, what's the problem? And once we know what the problem is, and once we can work Ohio Means Jobs, and once we can work all the job training programs in, once we can figure out how to do that, then we start treating people holistically. Go and stand in a line and have somebody, you're in this line today, tomorrow you come back and you stand in that line. Now how's that going to help anybody? Everybody in our country can agree that we want people who are dependent to be independent. Some we're always going to have. because they can't simply cope. That's okay. But for those that can, and not deliver them the vital services and the training and the compassion and the help and the lift up that they need, we're failing as fellow human beings. So we're creating an Office of Welfare Transformation in this bill. I mean, there's so many things in this bill and all these other bills I'm signing. The list is so long that you know, you can pave the roads with it. And most of it is actually really good. Stuff the legislature put in, no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good too. But we want to have a system that's seamless. We want to have a system that treats people as our neighbors. We want to treat them as we would want them to treat us. And I got to tell you another thing. This whole business of poverty, training, welfare, EITC, tax cuts, hey, they can fight everywhere else in the country, but we got to stop fighting here in Ohio. Because there's not a dime's worth of difference between us when it comes to lifting people. And sometimes the darn partisanship, am I right, Milkovich, sometimes it gets in the way. And it gets people to fight over, you know, tripping over the anthills on the way to the pyramids. We got big things to do, and they are happening. We are trying to transform the state and include everyone in the transformation. Now,